I'm going to talk to you about making dynamic videos for your students up next on Gifted Guzman. So I bet you're asking yourself, make dynamic videos for my students, what's that all about, right? Well, I sent a Google form out to my students last year asking them what kind of worked best for digital learning and what worked the least for digital learning. And I made an infographic out of it and I sent it out to a bunch of teachers. One of the things that the students said that they needed most was a dynamic video. They didn't want to be bored. They didn't just want to be on Screencastify, like looking at the teacher's screen. They want to see you. They want to hear you talking. They want you doing something. So Loom, Screencastify, those give you the option to have yourself visible on the screen. One of the things that lets you do is that lets you be more dynamic. That lets you emote more, right? You can be more excited about the topic. So one of the ways to make a video more dynamic for your students is for you to have a larger than life persona. So clap a lot and be excited about things and be like, oh, that's the greatest thing I ever saw. You know, we do that naturally in the classroom, and it's very weird to do it here right now, looking at my camera and trying to do this for y'all and imagining how you're reacting to it on the other side of the camera. And it takes some getting used to, but definitely that is something that the kids react to. They notice when you're just kind of talking all along like this, and this subject is like this. And if it sounds like you're bored by the subject, they're definitely going to be bored by the subject. But if you're like, this human body has the best body systems ever. I have the same body. Look at my skin. My skin is the integumentary system and it stretches all over me. All of a sudden, the kids are paying attention to you and they notice what you're doing, and it excites them a little bit more because you're excited. Now, you can't be at 100% all the time. You can take it in and out and be kind of excited and have maybe a story with it or have a little persona and go with it. So that's just one of the ways that you can do that, is by emoting. So let's emote, okay? And you can use your hands a lot. Maybe not as much as I do because I'm a little kind of all over the place, but move around a little bit and interact. And even if you're sitting there in your chair on Screencastify, you can get closer to your screen. You can move further apart. You can be like, that's so exciting. You know, just little things like that. So emote, emote, emote. All right. So that's tip number one. Emote. Have a persona. All right. Tip number two is dress the part. Right now I'm in my Disney shirt. Totes love Mickey Mouse. And sometimes that's okay. Sometimes you can be in a shirt, you know, you can be in your coffee shirt or whatever, and then the kids know, oh, hey, my teacher really loves coffee or whatever. And sometimes that's okay. But what if you're like a science teacher and you're talking about science? Well, I got this lab coat off of Amazon, like 15 bucks. And so when I'm talking about science, I can be a scientist. I actually have my own goggles that I can wear. And now all of a sudden, when I'm talking to them about science, I'm a scientist. And we're in the science lab, and I have an area set up that's sciencey. And I can talk about it, and I can think, and I can ponder. And so I can emote and be dressed up. I can also wear silly hats. I teach English language arts as well as science. So when we teach the mythology unit, I put on a bed sheet, I wrapped it around me, I went out in my toga, I had on other clothes obviously underneath it, but I went out in my toga, I put some flowers in my hair from the Dollar Tree, and I was like looking up at the sun god, oh powerful sun god, and again, so I'm dressing up and emoting. We're the Black Knights, and I'm crafty. You don't have to be crafty, you can buy things on Amazon or anywhere. I made this Black Knight helmet. So sometimes I wear it and I'm like, hey, Black Knights, guess what we're doing? Right? So you can wear these little props and things and just be interesting. I know it's difficult. It's weird to do it in front of the camera, but the kids really respond to it. They really want you to be interesting. They want you to engage them. They want you to be excited about the topic so that they can be excited about the topic. So number two is dress up, okay? dress up, dress up. And for number 3, we're gonna actually go somewhere else. So number 3. Number 3 is location, location, location. I actually fancy myself to be a bit of a master naturalist, and you can hear all of the nature behind me. So sometimes I come outside and I do things outside. I don't always put my barbecue grill in there, but as you can see, there's plenty of things going on in my yard. And so I can have all different views of my yard behind me. I can have the barbecue grill. The kids can know I'm in my yard. Sometimes if I go out to a park or something, I'll just take some video out there to the park. Change the location up. You can take them on virtual field trips, even if it's just to your yard. If I'm talking about habitats, microhabitats, cells, I can come out to my yard. If I'm reading a book, I can sit out here and read a book and we can talk about it. If we're talking about Greek mythology, we can talk about how they thought the sun was a god and the god moved the sun across the sky. There's so many different things. If you're out here, you can do historical reenactments in your yard if you're a history teacher. So there are lots of things you can do with location, location, location. And so move around to different locations, even if it's a different location in your house. You know, move to your dining room, move to your kitchen, move to your work area, just move to different places in the house. Change up that location. Whew. It was a little too hot outside for me. I had to come back inside and into my living room. So the last thing is time frame. Kids don't have that big of an attention span. We know that, right? So we know that even when we're in the classroom, we can't just talk at them for hours and hours on end, even for minutes and minutes on end. So my rule of thumb is I try to really keep it below 10 minutes if possible. There's a couple of times when I've gone to like 10 and a half, but if you can keep it at less than 10 minutes, engaging them, emoting, going places, being excited about your topic, and keep it in that 10-minute range, then you're probably going to snag them. They're going to be excited. They're going to like it. They're going to remember it, and they're going to interact with it a little bit more than they would if they were just looking at your screen on Screencastify or on Loom. Okay? So I hope these tips have been really helpful. I hope that you can make some dynamic videos for your students and that your students enjoy them. It's just a matter of practice, practice, practice. So just keep practicing and get those videos out there for your kids for distance learning. Thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in to Gifted Guzman.